eat all the non-spicy ones?
Puppers would.
I'll eat all of them. All the hot sauce.
Hey guys, welcome back to the weekly Shlog. I'm Morgan, that's Angry Zach. Super duper mean Leandra is up front. I don't know, we're gonna have to be like SDM Leandra. Super duper mean Leandra is up front, and that's the puppers. And we are back here at Highland Cycles for our weekly vlog where we show you all kinds of cool stuff about dirt bikes and that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Stick with us, let's have some fun. Alright guys, first on my lift is this 2021 150 XCW TPI. It's just here for service. Big, you know, just go through everything. It's the end of the season. They're done. They're going to put them up. But the other thing that I'm really excited to announce is that we're putting mooses in the tires instead of the stupid tubeless system. Yeah, I said stupid. Go ahead, come at me, bro. I know there's a ton of you that are going to yell at me for that, but I am going to call it stupid because they're calling it stupid because they've had numerous leaks. They were installed, not by me, so I'm assuming by someone else who's a professional, but anyway, they finally decided to get rid of the tubeless and put actual mooses in the thing so they don't have any problems. Yeah, we're going to do a full service. I will check in as we go about that if we find anything interesting. Obviously, we're going to start with the air filter, so hopefully I don't have any air filter yelling to do, but you really don't know. Look. Domestic dispute. Domestic dispute. Oh. Oh, by the way, Leandra and Zach have a new cat named Pabu. Pabu is a pirate cat because he's got a kind of a bad one eye. Leandra doesn't think it's bad, but he also runs into walls on that side of his head. So I'm guessing it's not the greatest eye. But here's my question. I feel like Pabu should get an eye patch because he's a pirate. Leandra doesn't agree. What do you guys think?
His eye looks handsome.
His eye does not look handsome. I will try to... If I remember, I'll put a picture of Pabu up right now so you guys can see his eye is not handsome. It should be covered up just for the light, like for children. When children see it, they don't need to see that. But also, I think he'd look awesome with an eye patch. Anyway, let's get to work. All right, guys. Now we got a 500 XCFW up here. The 150 was perfect. Had no issues, nothing wrong with it, so I didn't film any of that. But we did get the tubeless out. Got mooses in. This one already has mooses because this gentleman, they're actually husband and wife, and he decided to do it last year. And now, you know, anyway, experienced a worry-free, trouble-free year on this 500. So we did it on that. But I have something to show you guys. So if you remember from many Schlogs ago, it's been a long time because we've been waiting for parts. We had a Husqvarna 350 that blew up the top end. It was this one with the and everything's blown up. And there was questions as to why it blew up, and now we know. The water pump, the oil pump gear is all chewed and like locked up, I think. I don't even know. Anyway, there's our plastic stuff failing miserably. So now we got to get those. I'm going to see if we can get aluminum. I think we can get aluminum ones for that, so hopefully we can. Because that just seems ridiculous to put plastic oil pump gears. But Zach and I were just talking about that, how Honda on their CRFs runs a plastic oil pump gear. But I did remember that it's just one gear is plastic and not two gears are plastic. So the rest of it's metal, and it's a different plastic. It's kind of a white, clearish color. So either it's a better plastic or the fact that it doesn't bump up against other plastic. I don't know. Anyway. There's the problem. That's the original issue right there. So, that's awesome. So anyway, now I gotta go look up those parts. And then we're doing a big full service on that 500. If I see anything awesome, I will bring you guys in on that. All right, guys, next on the lift is this 2001. I believe it's a 250 MXC, or maybe it's an SX. I'm not sure. Not just a ton of difference in those, but anyway, it is here to get a paddle tire. I just put a new rear fender on it, which is cool that we can still get those, which is awesome. Some bikes, that's getting worse and worse. And doing a full service. And since I've been trying to touch back on the air filter situation here on the channel, I figured I'd bring you guys in on this one, because I am a little bit concerned. So we'll take a look here from that. First of all, it is like pretty crazy dirty, although our real fine dust could do that in a long day of riding, so I can't go too crazy on just the dirtiness. But this worries me, not so much because of that, because it's definitely not leaking there, but I worry about down there where it's off. So let's do this. Oh yeah, that's no good. That is no bueno for nada. I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but here, that. Guys, these are some of the worst of KTM air filters. The design of getting them in there and not blowing things up. This is one of the worst because they like to come off, but it's bad. I'm gonna see if I can show you guys down in there in the carburetor. It's disgusting. Yeah, I don't know if this bike runs or not, but we're gonna find out here pretty soon. If it does, I'll be sort of surprised, honestly. Yeah, let's see what the compression feels like. Well, so compression feels pretty good. The other thing that's got going for it, it does feel like very wet and oily in the intake passage. So hopefully that oil and gnarliness caught most of the dirt. But let me see if I can show you. Grab my Nebo. Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's what the carburetor looks like. So, full service definitely changed into full service plus carburetor clean and airbox clean. So there's that. Guys, I cannot stress enough how important it is to take care of the air filter. Not just the servicing of it, but making sure it goes back in correctly. Yeah, it's a bummer. I think it's going to run, which is good, but I don't know for how long. Because all that dirt is top end and bottom end. If you watched the last week's Shlog, you know that can have, wreak havoc on a crankshaft too. So, yeah, bummer summer for this guy. But anyway, I'm going to check back in when I get the carburetor off and show you just how bad it is. All right, guys, so I was taking the silencer off so I can take the subframe up and flip it up so I can get the carburetor and clean that air boot and all that off. And while I was doing that, as I was sliding the silencer off, I bumped the spring, and I noticed that it's a good thing this thing's here. They're going on a trip to the sand dunes. I think they're going to Glamis and stuff like that. And I'm glad the thing is here so that we can at least make it safe. I don't know how long the motor's going to make it through a sand dune trip with that much dirt in there. But at least that won't be happening on the back end. So, whew, man, yeah, this is just a good example of why, if you're not mechanically inclined, that maybe you ought to bring your bike to a shop more often. And I know it costs money. I know we charge lots of money to do things, but I think in the end you'd be saving money and saving possible injury and getting stuck out in the sand dunes. So yeah, I will just keep bringing you in on this one because this could be a really good ride. Who knows what else we're gonna find. All right, guys, got the carburetor off. Let's take a nice close look at the sadness that is this carburetor now. Focus. Focus, come on. There we go. So there you go. Kind of cool to see though. You can see how it draws the air in. Also, like I said, he may be really lucky. A lot of oil drained out of the air box, and it's really stuck to the air box. So it may be a blessing because it maybe kept the dirt, at least some of the dirt, from going all the way into the motor. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna get this cleaned up because it's disgusting, obviously, and get that cleaned up, put it back on, and then we're gonna try starting it, and then we'll move forward with the rest of the service. And we got a paddle tire to put it on and all that stuff, and I hope that I get to do all that. The motor's not completely junked. So anyway, stay tuned. We're gonna start this thing up here in a bit. All right, guys, so this KTM is proving to be a treasure trove of maintenance issues, which is, it's good for you guys, right? You're learning. So here's the next thing we found. So if you take this and it does that, and it's missing one bolt, so we're gonna replace that, which is good, no worries. And then we knew about this, but this is kind of cool. I don't know if I've ever had wheel bearings do that, make that noise. So yeah, so we're gonna swap out that rear sprocket. The chain and front sprocket actually look great. So, but that actually brings up a point that I'd like to share with you all. That is why I don't like aluminum sprockets. They wear out so much faster than everything else. So we're gonna put a steel sprocket on there, and it'll be just fine. We just talked to the customer. He doesn't really want to go with chain and front sprocket too. You know, probably do that when he gets back from this trip. But yeah, one more thing, so we'll get that done. All right, guys, it's time to start this thing. Well, start this thing. Let's hope it starts. Got a paddle tire on it, new rear sprocket on it. Tighten up that spring for the rear shock, and then still got to change the oil. It's the last kind of thing I got to do. But let's see if she starts and runs, because after that carburetor and all that dirt, you never know. Well, despite the best efforts, the bike still runs. And it sounds great and doesn't have any nasty vibration or anything like that. So, a testament to two-strokes and also KTM two-strokes. I've always said, even before I owned a KTM, that their two-stroke motors were super burly. So, yeah. Anyway, gonna change the oil, tighten up that spring, and then we'll be good to go. Get on to the next project. All right, I wasn't gonna talk about this bike anymore, but when I drained the oil, you can see there's a lot of metal in there. It's just fine metal. It's not blowing up. It's just been in there way too long. That is clutch material that is coming apart. So if you guys buy a bike, or you have a bike and you didn't change the oil for a while and you drain it, it looks like that, it's not a cause for terrible alarm, but it does mean you're not changing your oil enough, because that is the fine metal from your clutch plates coming down into the oil. So anyway, this thing, like I said, it's a testament to the absolute burliness of KTM two-strokes, because it still starts and runs awesome. I can't even believe it. All right, now on to the next job. All right, guys, next on my list is another bike from the same owner who had that other KTM, and we can. There's the, anyway, so first things first, we're going to put a paddle tire in this one, and we're putting a new brake line on it, because the brake line is, you know, like this. So I went to go take my T-handle, going to take this off so I could, anyway, and I went like this, and then I went, and it do that. That is not what it's supposed to do. So I gotta wash this thing anyway, but I figured I'd get this going because the brake's always kind of a mess. Get that on there, and then, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. So, I know they're probably watching this video. I love you guys. I'm not going to say who it is, but I love you guys. But seriously, you got to do, anyway, whatever. Yeah. Fortunately for him, I don't know if the swing arm's messed up. We're going to take it all apart and see. But the swing arm could be busted or something. And he's also missing this bolt there. So that's awesome. Fortunately for this gentleman, I do have all these parts because I have had so many YZs. But wow. All right. Let's get after it. All right, guys. So next on the lift is this XR650R of mine. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. But I want to show you guys something that I uncovered with my kids. We were down here late on Thursday night working on our bikes because I honestly have been working on my kids' bikes too much for them. So I made them come down here and do some service work. And my son Thomas, I have a little story time to tell you guys. So my son Thomas, well, actually both of my sons and I went riding Baja Pass. If you guys watched that video, it's the Dirt Bikes and Guns video where I'm holding a 9mm in the thumbnail. We rode Baja Pass, and it doesn't show on the video because I never got it. But every time my kid, Thomas, on his 144 would start it after stopping for just a second, it would just blow white smoke. I was like, what the heck? But then it would stop immediately. Like, as soon as he started riding, it would stop. And I was like, that's weird. And then he finally asked me about it. I said, Dad, why is this bike doing this? I'm like, I don't know, but you know what? Let's just take a break. So he took a break, let the bikes cool off a little bit, popped the radiator cap off, and sure enough, it was low. So we added some water, and we headed back. I'm like, that's weird. And then he reminded me that when we were in Oklahoma, the bike was kind of hard to start. Like, not horrible, but it took a few extra kicks than normal. But it ran great, and it was running great that day at Baja Pass. So I'm like, all right, well, you need to work on your bike anyway. So let's get it down here. We'll change the oil, do the air filter, all that good stuff, and then let's figure out what's going on. So long story short, we took it apart, and we found that right here, it's going to be impossible for you guys to see on the camera, but this is dipped. And I proved it with a straight edge. I took a straight edge and put it on there. But there was black on here also from the head gasket. And I think what happened was last summer, when we were riding, he burned the thing down. He melted it. Well, he didn't really melt it, but anyway, he burned it up after a crash that cut a radiator hose that he didn't tell me about and coolant. Anyway, and so I was like, I took it apart. Everything looked good. Someone looked good. Put a new piston in it. Fired up, ran. Didn't burn any coolant. I checked the coolant before Oklahoma. All that stuff. Everything was fine. But I think what happened is in Oklahoma, when he got out on the racetrack, the road racetrack, and was pinning it down the road, I think what happened was he blew the head gasket finally from the warp that happened long ago. Because the head gaskets on these 144s are like a sandwich metal thing with rubbery stuff and all that. So it finally blew. So anyway, I got a new one of these coming, and that's going to be good. And we should be ready to rock and roll. Alright guys, so like I said earlier, next on the lift is this XR650R of mine. This is my Baja 1000 bike, the bike I owned, sold, bought back, anyway, whatever. It's the one bike that I will never sell again, ever. And I absolutely love it. But it is officially time to do some serious work on it. It's starting to burn oil. It still runs amazing, but it's starting to burn oil. So I'm going to peel the top end apart, and we're going to dive into a top end on an XR650R, which I've done before. It's been a long time, but I've never filmed. So I'm excited to share that with you guys. So I'm not going to film that here on the Shlog because it's going to take forever. So if you're interested in seeing that, make sure you hit the old subscribe button and turn the little notification bell on because, yeah, here come the videos. I'm going to start with a tear down and all that and see what parts we need since I'm not in a big hurry to get it fixed because we're going into winter. And then we'll just order all the parts and get those parts in. We're probably going to have the head machined and all kinds of stuff. So there's going to be lots of content coming on this XR. I'm going to go put you guys down and start filming the real deal. Alright guys, we got the XR all apart, got the top end apart, got it's all, everything. Got that video filmed. If you're interested, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we're going to have a ton of content coming about rebuilding this bike. I mentioned in the video about this bike, I'll mention it here. If anyone out there is interested in sponsoring this build, please get a hold of me, Morgan at highland-cycles.com. Whether you're someone who could help us have some wheels or new plastics, or if you're interested in helping financially, get your name out there, anything like that, please let me know. I am really super interested in getting this thing all the way back to the way it was when it was new. I don't know if I'll go all the way. It kind of depends on you guys. If you guys want us to help sponsor us, that would be huge. Patrons, thank you guys. You are already sponsoring us. I really appreciate it. All of you guys who are just watching these videos, it makes a big difference. Thank you guys. Anyway, that's the end of the Shlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That YZ and the KTM that were so hammered, we got them both all back together, ready to rock and roll. They're going to take them and have fun. I love you guys. I hope you get out and spread the gospel of two wheels. And I desperately hope that what we're doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you guys to work on and get out and ride your dirt bikes!